Oh my god, I
So we
just
have the USU
realized my
home
mic
sales
wasn't
July
plugged in.
2025 report on the feed for those interested.
Good morning, guys. How's everyone doing? So we need to see ES over 74. That is important. 74 and hold. NQ leading up. We've got a big ol' pivot here at 530, which I want to see us hold on NQ. I'm hoping to see basically this just kind of like hold as our pivot. Oh my god, what is going on? This is like holding and then continues up while ES shows some interest over 74 for continuation. If we can do that, I think NQ fills gap. And then I'm not sure what happens after that. But I'd like to see at least this gap fill. So if we don't go back down to 535.20 here, should have at least a secondary move over 560 for gap fill up into 575, 580. We'll see. But again, like we really need to flip the 74 for me to care on ES. So let's hope we can do that now. Okay. Uh-oh. Start retest here in 72. See if we can find this bid. Show interest over 74. Or again, like there's really no upside. This needs to flip. Lower high offers lowered a bit here on NQ. 550, 560 still holding his offer. Rotating back down to 535.20 it looks like so far. See where this bid steps in on ES. Russell's just battling with the 30-second opening range. Trying to get above. This can bid here. We're in a good spot. just gonna highlight this so that you have an idea of where we would like to see the bids be. Right. This is POC to value high, a previous candle. So as long as this is maintaining, and then we can look over 74s, we're in an okay spot. But if this starts to fail, then we're going to be, then there's not a huge likelihood of gap fill. Like 74s need to flip. I can't be, I can't reiterate that enough. So let's see if this 69.70 can hold on ES, and then if we can bid and pop over 74, or if this is going to fail. Pushing through. If this offers and now holds 69.70, expect more downside. If this can hold and get back over 74s, then we look up. It's really that simple. Again, major pivot. Testing value high now on ES. From our bounce at our our PVZ POC here, and our low. We need, again, to get back over 74s, show that as area of interest. No change on NQ, just rotating in our range here. Need to show interest over 560 for upside. New 15's opening now. Morning, man. Again, need to get over 560 on NQ, 74s on ES for upside. Russell still holding 30-second opening range as resistance. Need to show interest above this yellow box here. Yes, still putting in lower highs. Still no interest over 74s as of yet. If offer lowers here at 50s, expect rotations back down to 30. We need to see us over the 60 and bid for upside. Right now, your risk is that these guys are going to be offsides here and that we're rotating back down. And this is just balance still. We need to see this POC here hold, and then we need to see continuation. So we want to see the bid really hold this like 40 mid and then rotate over 60s for more upside. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Right, like this is your risk right now for shorts, for a balance play that just rotates right back down. What we want to see happen for the buyer after we just put in this higher low, lower high is that they then bid off this 40 and then we get over 60 and then continue upward. Or we will continue to rotate just this little like micro range that we're trading in. Like what we need to see for upside is that this needs to look over the 60, and then we use this 50 to 60 as our risk, and that allows us then to rotate up and play this, right? When we see that look above, we then use this as our risk, this yellow. But if we continue to resist that and then put in a lower high, right? That then shows that there isn't enough interest yet outside of this area, and we should expect that this lower high, this is still our risk, and then we rotate down, right? Lower high, right? Rotations through equals balance continuation. So if we can step over this, see that bid get excited into these highs, we can then play
At
off of
10:30
this as
a.m.
our
Eastern
risk
Time, we have
for
the
our
Dallas Fed
rotations up.
Manufacturing Business Index, forecast -1.7, previous 0.9.
So that's your first target here on NQ off of full rotation, off of failure and lower high, right? So like that's the short. Same thing on ES, it's the short. So if this flips our low, we have a bit of a problem. But do you see how we get an immediate bid from our PT, from our low of balance? Do you see that? It's just balance here until we can either step above and show interest or step below and show interest. It'll just balance around here. But keep in mind these lower highs, right? So there's a seller who's clearly stepping down the offer. And until we can shift that, we have to respect that we're just going to be rotating. And that the offer is clearly in charge here, right? It's in control. Also, keep in mind that Russell still showing no interest of our 30-second opening range. This yellow is our pivot. We need to show interest above if we're going to get that expansion, or we're completely dependent on NQ for our ES movement. If RTY can't get over this 30-second opening range, then we don't have full market participation for the upside move. So we really need RTY ideally to get over the 61, show that interest, with NQ also pushing. That gives us full market participation to upside, which allows us to have a much more confident bid step in the market to allow that trend up. Without these flips of our pivots, our 60s on NQ, our 74s on ES, and Russell over our 63.1, that's when it's going to be a little choppy, right? And we'll just continue doing these ranges or go for that secondary leg down. So that being said, we're watching to see if NQ can hold this higher low, right? Off of our 30 to 20. We tagged right into the 20s, and now we're seeing a secondary bid try to step up here at 30. So your risk right now is 20 to 30 for rotations back up to 50 to 60. Just like we were doing for the short side from 50 to 60 from this tag, it's the exact opposite, right? It's just balance. And we're seeing that this buyer is trying to step up here. This is your risk right
According to
now
South Korea's Justice Minister
for
telling
rotations
Parliament,
back up.
saying, has long had impression that Trump and leaders in Washington have distorted information about Lee and the ruling party.
Do you guys see what I'm talking about or no? Okay. And again, like this is just our PVZ levels. So the low right here on ES right now is this 47.25. That is our PVZ value to our PVZ value at 69, and then we're rotating up into 72 to 74, which is our pivot above. Very tight range. Need to break these lower highs, look above, then hold this using this as our risk. And as long as this is maintaining, we can then look up. If this is not going to be able to push above, then we will continue to chop here and continue this offer lower.
In 5 minutes' time, we have the US Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index, forecast minus 1.7, previous 0.9.
All right, another full rotation here into our highs. If we can flip 560 on NQ, we get another leg up. If not, this is your first risk off. We want to see that flip so that we can use 550, 560 as our next area of risk where we can move stops up for next leg. If this fails, right, there's no change. Same thing on ES 72, 74. This is full range target. We need to see that look above and hold for anything more.
One minute to go. We have posted a live video of Trump on the feed signing a new executive order on flag burning for those interested. He's currently not speaking live yet.
Here's a link.
Ten seconds. Still waiting on the data. Minus 1.8, minus 1.8, lower than the forecast of minus 1.7.
Furniture tariffs will be imposed as part of a national security investigation into lumber, according to CNBC, citing a White House official.
RTY testing our 30-second opening range high here at 63.1. Again, we want to see that flip or that potential upside. Same thing here with the 60s for for NQ and 74s for ES. Need to look above and then hold these pivots, or this will be our top. And then we will rotate back down. So let's see if we can flip these with full market participation, or if these all fail at once. This is ES 30-second opening range and RTY 30-second opening range. NQ is leading up. We held our 30-second opening range at 520. That was our low. So we are building above. Whereas ES and RTY are still lagging here. So this should be your first risk off on ES. NQ, we're now looking to see if 60 to 50 can hold as supportive on this look above. If we can get above 74s on ES, we have potential for a secondary leg up. You move your stop right below 72s, and then we get continuation. And NQ has been leading up. We need to see Russell over the 63.1 for the ES breakout, ideally. Things look okay. But we're just watching for that secondary leg here. See if we can hold this 60 to 50 on NQ, or if it looks above, fails, and then 50 goes offer.
France's Prime Minister Bayrou says, I will request a confidence vote in Parliament on September. So that's September 8th. French Prime Minister Bayrou says, I will request a confidence vote in Parliament on September 8th. It's the French Prime Minister Bayrou speaking in a Paris press conference now.
ES and RTY still failing to push over pivots. Slight divergence, right? Causing weakness in overall market. NQ failing because of that. Then need to see that push over 74s for any upside potential on ES, and Russell over 63.1 for any upside potential there, or we will be stuck in this range. Need those looks above and hold, or again, there's just nothing here short term. Just full rotations back down on ES. See if we get our lower high here for the 50 to 60 offer flip, or if we're able to hold. ES did a full rotation. Watching for 72, 74 to continue to maintain his offer for a lower high, or if we can flip and hold this supportive. We need that look above for that upside, or this is going to be your first risk off. Again, we're just stuck in this range. All right, I'm out half of my short after getting stopped from 60 to 50, flipped 50s, now rotating back down to our lows into 20 to 30. This is your first PT. And then if we can flip 20s, then we get a secondary leg down. If not, then it's going to continue to range. Yes, full rotation off our 72, 74 hold back to our 67, 68. It's super tight on ES. But as long as Russell is maintaining that pivot and ES is maintaining this pivot, there's just nothing here for upside.
Elon Musk's ex-AI sues Apple and OpenAI in US court in Texas for allegedly violating antitrust laws, according to a court filing.
Another attempt to look above. We're watching to see if we get back below 50s an offer or if this maintains. As long as this is maintaining, we're okay to try to look long. ES full rotation, no breakout yet, but you're watching NQ to see if we can build here. Russell still diverging.
So Trump is now speaking at the White House. Again, we do have a live video on the feed for those interested. So it appears the live videos are not quite yet on Trump speaking live. We're just getting some reports on the wires that he is going to be speaking soon.
ES into 74, top of range. Need to see this look above and hold for upside. NQ leading, looking above. Watching to see if 60 to 50 can continue to hold or if this fails.
So we have
and we
updated the
look
live
back
video on the feed
below
for those
the
interested.
offer.
Again, Trump speaking live now. So remember, we saw earlier reports that Trump's executive order signing today is going to be on flag burning and desecration. So unsure if it'll be relevant to policy. We'll just keep an eye out anyway.
.74 offer still
The
holding on
Stocks Europe
ES.
600 index extends its drop to a session low of spot 4%.
Watching ES into 72 here, seeing if we can hold. Same thing on NQ, seeing if we can hold the 62.25, our previous high. We're just watching to see if downtrends are back in play here, or if we're going to be able to bid and hold trapping. I'm unsure. Things to note, Russell, bottom of range, no interest above as of yet. So there's no breakout confirmation. Yet NQ is trying, right? But we need Russell follow through ideally. We might be able to get a bit of relief here because we're at the lows, but this downtrend is still intact, so it's a little wishy-washy to me. But we are holding where we need to. It's just we need to see the look above and hold.
The French 10-year government debt hits touches session lows now, extending its drop.
Russell, sorry, ES pushing into 74s again. If we can get the flip, then this feels much better. Until then, it just is going to continue to rotate. So let's see what they do. NQ little look below 50s and then look back above 60s in bid. Rotations back up to our highs. No real change here. Need to see ES over 74s and hold. I can feel confident. What's up? How you doing, Roy? Should be our first risk off if you're playing the flip over 60s into 70, 80. If we can get over 90s, then we get continuation. If not, then you take your 20 points and you reevaluate. Yes, still no interest over 74s as of yet. That is our major pivot. Russell still diverging and pushing down back to our lows. Watching to see if we can get this break or if this is all we get. Mm-hmm. I hope what I'm saying and like the levels make sense. Like you're gonna get stopped every once in a while, but as long as you're flipping right after, like the risk to reward is still super solid. It's 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 always. Just playing your zones. Like I'd much rather get stopped out here for 10 points and then immediately flip long for 20 points up, giving me like a 9 point stop right here. Right? Like it's so worth. Like I can't reiterate that. Like I'm more than happy to take small stops for double the reward on both sides, and then just play the flip of the pivot and just play the secondary move. It only makes sense. And it's gonna take you a little bit to get used to that, but as long as you're playing that risk and you understand our edges, like there's no downside to doing this. Again, like risking 10 at 50 to 60 and then playing up into 80s, it's a 2 to 1. And if we can flip over 90s, we get continuation, and then you can try that as your risk, your 80 to 90. But until then, this is it. We'll be in a much better position as soon as ES starts to show 74 is supportive. I don't know why I don't have audio on this Trump thing. I don't know what's going on. It's like my audio in Google Chrome is just broken. I don't know why. Trump is speaking right now, by the way. I can't hear it for some reason. I don't know what's going on with my Chrome browser. I have no audio.
French far-right leader Badella says, "We will never vote in favor of PM Bayrou's government."
So it's the same thing as our previous range where we're just watching our edges here. So your risk right now is that we have potential to rotate back down to 60 on NQ. We want to see this push above 90s for continuation up. So this is basically your risk right now. We want to see this flip and continue. So if you're already long off of 60s, you're fine to hold runners. But if you need to see this push over 90 for that continuation, or just expect looks above, and then you watch for that 80 pivot as your where you put on risk for rotations back through. So just keep an eye on that if we fail to get above. No change here on our ES rotation, 74 holding, but just keep in mind that we are at our pivot here on NQ. We need to see that look above and hold for a continuation up. That being said, I'm going to take off my first risk here on ES. Here at 77s for 3 points. I'd like to see 80, but taking off a little just in case. Russell's still diverging, so you're very dependent on NQ holding these highs for ES to continue to get upside. As soon as NQ fails to continue to show higher lows and Russell is still diverging, we are going to have a much more aggressive rotation down. Again, ES is like fully dependent on NQ right now.
Fed bids for 6-month bills total $3.2 billion and 3-month bills total $3.6 billion.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. All of a sudden my audio is not working on that stream. Interesting. Looks like it was the stream itself. Interesting. Surf.
The critical minerals draft list notice has been posted in the Federal Register. In 10 minutes' time now, at the bottom of the hour, the US is due to sell $82 billion in 3-month bills. The prior high yield was 4.13%, and the prior bid to cover was 2.7. The US is also due to sell $73 billion in 6-month bills, with a prior high yield of 3.945% and a prior bid to cover of 2.95.
All right, this is PT boys on ES from 74 to 80, 6 points. Let's see if we can flip this or if this is all we get. Need to get over 83.50 for anything more, or we can see some sell side here. NQ, no change. Offer sitting at 600. Still holding this upper area, our 80 to 90. If this can hold, should be able to rotate up to the 605, 600. Just watch this offer, but you should be risking off as we push up into this, and then just leave runners. As long as you were playing our pivots, no reason to really do anything else. Our balance here is this flip of the 72.74 is our low. This is our mid pivot here at 80 to 83. And if we can flip that, then we go to 90 to 95. Not looking for more upside until we can flip over 95s. We should just expect this to be two little balance rotations, right? We've got the 74 to 80, 6 points here. This is our lower balance, and this is our upper balance. So if we can flip this, then we get a secondary leg. If this holds, then we might need to retest this first and then do the secondary move. Unsure. But this is our balance from Friday. It was alright. Pretty chill. What about you? Nice. Which one? That one's decently old. Like what? Like 2010, 2012 or something? 2013? Yeah, definitely.
So in just less than 5 minutes time now, at the bottom of the hour, the US is due to sell $82 billion in 3-month bills. Prior high yield 4.13%, prior bid to cover 2.7. The US is also due to sell $73 billion in 6-month bills, with a prior high yield of 3.945% and a prior bid to cover of 2.95.
What? Why did that just appear?
We're shortly expecting the results from both the US 3 and 6-month bill auctions.
Ten seconds, 2015s, no change. Just at our target here at 80s on ES. Just watching to see if we're gonna need to rotate back down to 74 here, or if we just get the leg up. We'll see. But uptrend's still intact, so no reason to be bearish as of yet. Just in runners. Just watching to see if we get a push to highs or what happens. They're going to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. That's what he's currently ranting about.
Three-month high rate 4 spot 1%, 4 spot 1% with a bid cover of 3 spot 07, 3 spot 07. For the 6-month bills, high rate 3 spot 915% with the bid cover of 3 spot 36. So in the 3-month bills, the US sold $82 billion, awarding 93.03% of bids at high. And for the 6-month bill, the US sold $73 billion and awarded 33.19% of bids at high. Trump says that leaders of Congo and Rwanda are coming to the US soon. Trump adds there is some big personality conflict with Russia and Ukraine. So the USGS proposes including copper among critical minerals.
Again, not much here, just a range rotation while Trump is speaking. Just following our pathing. Watching as we push back down into 74s here to see if that's going to hold or if we'll flip back below. But our 80 target was our high. No change, just watching. Understand that POC is sitting here at that 74 from this upside candle after the flip of our 72.74. POC at our highs is at 80, right? Sell side took in size there, no change. Now just rotating in between this POC and this POC on ES, which is our range currently. NQ, no real change either, right? Just our 605 from Friday, and now just watching to see if we're going to put in a lower high here at 590 and then push below 580 for continuation down, or if we're able to flip back above, hold this, and then rotate back up, right? It's just going to be a matter of watching these two inflections. So far, 590 holding.
Trump on South Korea says, I heard there were raids on churches. Trump on South Korea says, I heard they got into a US military base. Trump on South Korea says, I won't stand for that. Trump on policing in Chicago says we may or may not wait.
Q15's opening now. Still holding 80 to 90 on NQ, no change. ES still just rotating between our 74 and 80, no change. Russell at our pivot here at 54.6. I believe this is previous day value low, yeah. So we're just holding previous day's value, Friday's value, but still in this very clear downtrend. You are still incredibly dependent on NQ for ES movement right now with Russell weakness. If we start to step below this 80-85 on NQ, rotations back down to 60 feel very likely. If we can show interest here at this 90 to 95, upside feels pretty likely. It's just a really tight range with very clear pivots. There's not much else to talk about. If you look, we're still holding POC on ES here at 76s from previous candle. NQ it's just hitting and holding POC. We need to see a pretty clear flip of this. Like, yes, we're holding 90s, but downtrend is still kind of intact. We're going to need to show a push above and hold of this offer, or we're going to continue to step down just slowly but surely. So there's, again, not a lot here while we just wait for Trump to finish yapping. We should just consider that we're not going to get a ton of movement. We need Russell to find like a short-term low, and ideally that's here. That would be nice to get a little bit more ES movement and NQ movement. Just show that this weakness isn't going to continue. Again, if we flip below 80-85 and offer that, I think downside is pretty likely. But as long as this 80 to 90 is holding, and we're continuing to see a bit of absorption, you can't really argue that there's a downside lag here, right? Like it's just that we've just done another rotation. So not a ton here while we wait. The flex.
The French Green Party leader Marine Tondelier says Green Party will vote against Bayrou confidence motion. French far-right leader Marine Le Pen says RN will vote against Bayrou's confidence motion. Trump on US stakes in companies says I want to try to get as much as I can. Trump on Intel stake says I want many more cases like it.
Russell downtrend still intact. No ability to hold. Not looking great for the old RTY off our 30-second opening range high. We just took out those lows. Let's see if we reoffer. This holds as resistance. Excuse me. For one more leg down, or if we can get back in here and then rotate up. Again, ES and Q still flat, but holding downtrends short term.
Trump on Intel says, I just made $11 billion for the US. Trump says, I want Intel to do well. Trump says there will be other cases.
If you're playing off 80 to 90, the 605 is a great first risk off. Need to continue higher. We're going to need to flip this pivot.
Trump touts Friday's stock market rally.
I'm risking off one here. See if we can flip this, or if this is going to maintain.
Trump on tariffs says, I can use them to stop wars.
We're sitting at 55s above here on RTY. Might be a magnet for price. It's like all liquidity just pulled to there. Going for high a day here on NQ. Trying to flip our pivot. Again, watching Russell here into 55. We've got two little liquidity pockets, one at 55 and one at like 57.5 above. So let's see what happens here into 55s first on Russell. That would
Trump on
be
air
just
support and
downtrend
war in
continuation
Ukraine says,
if
I have
offer
not
holds here.
discussed specific security guarantees.
Again, NQ just into our top of range here. Just watching to see ES back to 80s after rotating down. No change. Need to show interest over 55s on Russell for really anything more.
Trump says the US will be involved in backing security guarantees. Trump says Europe will give significant security guarantees. French Socialist Party MP Delaporte says, I do not see how we could vote in favour of Bayrou's government confidence. Trump on war in Ukraine says, we deal with NATO, we don't really deal with Ukraine.
What? Obama gave sheep. Trump gave javelins.
Trump on the war in Ukraine says, we spend no money on Ukraine anymore.
Potential for a lower high here if we can't get back over this 12
Trump says, I have spoken to Putin since last Monday.
on NQ. ES 80 still just holding offer, no change there. Russell trying to show interest over this 55, starting to build. Offer again has moved to 57 above on RTY.
Trump says every conversation with Putin is a good conversation.
What the hell? Oh, there's that lower high I was a bit concerned about. Watching to see if we retest and get more, just for full rotations down to 590. Unsure.
Trump says, I discussed missiles and nuclear with Putin in Alaska. Trump on Putin says, I'm also talking about nuclear missiles. Trump on Putin call says, we would like to denuclearize. French-German 10-year spread widens 6 basis points to 76 basis points.
It's called mass. Oh my god.
US Commerce Department voids a $7.4 billion Biden-era semiconductor manufacturing research grant program.
New 15s, 10 seconds, slower high here, 605. NQ, or sorry, ES back into 80s. Just watching to see if we can flip this or if these highs are going to maintain. Again, NQ just rejecting our previous sellers are very clearly lowering the offer. We're watching to see if this bid can step up and push through, or if this offer is going to lower and then we rotate down to our 80 to 90, continuing to maintain our balance. So far, it looks like, well, balance rotation is just going to happen again. This can change into new 15s, but we'll have to see. Look at our previous candles here. POC holding as resistance. So very clearly that this is our risk here from 606 to 613. That is your value high to POC of our previous candle. Watch to see if sell side sits there. If they do, then again, rotations down to 90 makes sense. If we can flip it, we'll watch to see if that goes supportive, and then we can hold the 606 to 613 as supportive for rotations up to 630.
The French-German 10-year spread closes at its highest level since April. Trump on rescissions says, "I'm always open to cost cutting." Trump says, "I'm going to do the numbers on the cost of drugs in the US." Trump says, "We'll be reducing drug prices by 1,400 to 1,500%.
Huge. You guys ready to make some money? Negative drug prices?
Trump says, "We'll put tariffs on drugs rapidly."
Well, if he drops prices 1,400%, that is below zero.
Trump on the war in Ukraine says Putin is reluctant to meet Zelensky because he doesn't like him.
Jesus. How long is this press conference, man?
Trump on North Korea says someday I'll see him.
They're not even talking about the
The
thing
Trump
that they
there
were
saying
supposed to be.
someday I'll see Kim Jong-un and I look forward to it.
They're just rambling.
Trump says I get along well with Kim Jong-un.
Oh my god, it's over.
Trump now ends remarks at the White House.
This is. Oh my god. Stop with the beeping. Jesus. You guys remember, like, 15 years ago, there was this artist on YouTube who did like a low, not what we'll call it lo-fi, but like electronic songs sampling like Disney and Pixar movies. I think his name was Pogo. You guys remember that? Weird Al? What? How did you get Weird Al from what I just said? Oh my god, that was 18 years ago. Jesus, I'm old. You guys never like saw these? Damn. This was like peak at the time. Like no one else was doing sampling like this. I just randomly thought of it. Listening to a song that sounded similar. Super cool. These days though, like it's kind of like whatever, but back then, oh my god. I mean, it's the same. I didn't even log in yesterday. I missed a day. Just collecting rewards slowly. It is what it is. Listening to AI music unironically is crazy, by the way. Mm-mm. Oh my god, get me out of here. Uh, I guess whatever works. $20 till new 15s. Just holding our highs. ES still no interest over 80. NQ still no interest over this 605, 613. Just tagging into it and then immediately selling. Still holding higher lows across the board. Russell into our pivot here. Just trying to flip. No change as of yet. Just waiting. Nothing really to do. Yeah, again, like whatever works for you. I don't really have anything to say on that. I would assume practicing doing the actual thing is probably the most effective, but if you need some sort of reminder, go for it. It's a weird analogy because, like, when you're building muscle, you're exercising and doing the work. So I would assume that for trading, it would be the same thing where you're doing the work. But again, if it's helping, it's helping. There's nothing worse than a slow grind up, man. Full rotation, you're on NQ. RTY is still rejecting, pushing down. ES still holding 80s. No change. We're going to need to see a lot from buyers shortly, or we should expect this to start to lead down soon. We've got 7 minutes to basically fix this and show interest over 13s on NQ. Or I am not liking what I'm starting to see on the 15. It's fine as of right now, but if this continues to hold offer, it could be a bit rough where we're going to need to show interest down here first, grab liquidity, and then we can look up. We're basically just seeing sellers like slowly shift the offer down and absorb into this yellow zone above. Need to see if we can flip it, or if we're going to need to do that full rotation again back into this liquidity that's found down here into these wicks. Just don't have an answer yet. Only thing that we know is that there's very clearly someone above willing to take in as of right now. Offer sitting at 610.
According to Interfax, Russia's energy ministry and oil companies are working on additional introduction of reserve capacities for refining growth.
Martin Martin Shkreli just had a kid and he named him Torque. It's interesting. Torque Shkreli. Torque, yeah. With a Q. Yeah. Taking off a little risk here as we rotate down into bottom of range. There's not really much here until we push below 580, 590. That's just where the bid's resting. Expect liquidity to be there. If we can flip it, amazing. If not, then no change. All right, into our low here. Let's see what happens. ES kind of unplayable, right? Like we moved like a half a point. But NQ did the full rotation just through our value.
Trump on South Korea says we're going to have a good meeting. It appears this is coming from reporters shouting questions at Trump as he's greeting the South Korean president.
No, I mean, the conference is over, but he's just talking again to someone. There's going to be another meeting shortly, but it hasn't started, at least publicly. You can watch the stream. There's a guy in a golf cart. Or maybe he's mowing a lawn. I don't really know. my god. So slow. Mondays, man.
So keep in mind, any minute now, Trump due to be speaking in the Oval Office with South Korea's Lee. We have posted the live video on the feed for those interested.
I'll post the live video as well on YouTube chat. Oh.
Trump says, I don't mind renegotiating South Korea deal. Going to have serious discussions.
Super serious.
Thinking about contracting some ships from South Korea. Trump says, we'll have a very serious talk with Lee about trade. Again, Trump speaking live in the Oval Office. The video is on the feed if you're interested.
Hello, friends.
You.
Trump says, going to be buying ships from South Korea.
We buy ships.
I'm probably gonna head out, man. It's just Monday. Wednesday.
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I don't know. My consensus is if we can flip 84s, potential upside. But this 80 to 84 needs to really flip and show interest above for us to feel good. Once we do, then should be able to rotate up into this like 90 to 95 above just to do the Friday balance retrace.
Yep.
But, you know,
Trump
NQ,
says South
pretty
Korea will
similar.
help us get back into shipbuilding.
Same thing. Just
And
holding
adds
this
that South
rotation.
Korea is a big buyer of US military equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. It's just rotations, man. It's Monday trading.
Monday. See it. It's Nvidia earnings Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the market will be at kind of a waiting point until then.
Yeah. A lot of China too, actually, which is interesting for this week, but
So we've got a little bit more for the full gap fill. Just pay attention to that. That's your 84s gap fill. So if we can flip that, then we can start to trade that upper rotation back up to 95. But again, like your gap fill is this 84 here on ES, which looks like we're trying to
Trump
tag
says
into
I'll
now.
talk about South Korea purchasing military equipment.
I think the big trades will be if we can flip this 91 to 95, then we can look for a push to like 509, 510, and then above that like 525. But until then, I just have this labeled as balance. So we're at the mid of our balance right now after holding our 72, 74 and flipping that. Remember, we played 72 to 74 to 80. Now we're just trying to watch to see what happens into this gap fill. If there's no interest above 84s, then just expect rotations back through our range that we've developed today. But I mean, we're still just in an uptrend, just slow grind. Not really looking for any downside until we can flip that 580 as offer. It should just be rotations between 580, 590, and this like 605, 613 area. If we can flip these, then upside confirmed. Until then, just like balance. Right, just like keep an eye on this fixed range that we've developed. Should be looking for sellers to be loaded up into these edge highs and buyers to be loaded into these edge lows, and we're just watching to see how they interact. We need to flip these pivots and show interest above for continuation, or we should expect absorption into this and then a lower offer using this as our risk for rotations back down. All right, same as what we were doing earlier today. No change. Just watching to see if we can maintain our highs or if they fail, and then that offer steps down for rotations. Should be all pretty familiar with that at this point. Okay. Again, like everything's labeled. I will link the chart in chat so that you can follow it. But I'm gonna go take the doggo out.
Enjoy.
All right, peace.
Is it gorgeous there? Right before you leave, is the weather nice?
It was pouring rain before, but now it's bright and
Oh,
sunny. It's like
No,
perfect
it is
temperature.
so nice here. It's
Yeah.
been like 65. It's great. Have the windows open. All right.
Yeah,
Anyways,
no, it's beautiful now. It was really raining this morning, but that's why I want to go walker. It's like
yeah, go enjoy it.
gorgeous blue skies and like 68 degrees. It's like perfect.
Hell yeah. All right. Peace out, bro.
Peace.